Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay?
Peraí. Oi?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I do. What about my video, my audio? All
Everything's
right?
okay. Well,
Beleza.
first of all, I'd like to say that it's a pleasure having this conversation with you and having this time to understand you better. And before we start, I'd like to say that my classes are always in English, but for this first session, I always give the option for my client to speak how you feel more comfortable. So I can see that you are Brazilian, right?
Mhm.
So you speak Portuguese and English. How would you feel more comfortable speaking, Portuguese or English?
I think English might be better so you can have also an idea of how I speak.
Perfect. So, how's everything going prepared for the holidays?
It's alright, it's alright. I took a few days off, so I'm, I'm chill. There's no nothing big going on. I'm not going to travel or anything, so it's going to be a chill end of the year. What about yours?
Working a lot, but it's not I'm a workaholic. So, if I'm working, I'm happy.
You work as an English teacher full time.
Yes, yes. But I don't know if you
Okay.
know that in my profile, I'm not an English teacher anymore. I'm a communication coach.
Yes, right.
Yes, I work
Yeah,
as
I saw.
coaching communication my clients all around the world. But I like it. I'm happy.
That's very interesting, both in Portuguese and English. Then,
I focus in English, but yes, a lot of my clients use this also in Portuguese.
right, got it.
Understand?
That seems exciting.
Yes, it is. It's very nice, and especially to coach my clients on how to deal with with presentations, negotiations, an area that I always loved.
And just out of curiosity, what's your background like? What did you study?
So formally, nothing. I've
Okay.
worked for giving English classes since a very young age. And my father was always from the corporate world, right? He was an executive my whole life. I
Uh
learned a
huh.
lot with him. And then I started giving class when I was 20. I decided to give business classes because I always studied on my own. I love studying and the business world. And then I already started with big clients like directors from Atacadão and president of Atacadão. And then I learned a lot from them and on my own. Also
Okay.
participating as a translator in negotiations and meetings. So I absorb a lot having high high impact clients and I learn a lot from them. And now after 13 years, I have a lot of experience.
That's so interesting. I was reading a little bit about non-linear careers and all the ways of different paths you can take to have a fulfilling job and something that makes sense for you, especially for you. And you seem one of those lucky people who are
Yes,
accomplished by their job title
yes.
in daily life. That's so cool.
I read a book once. It's called Your Personal MBA, where it talked about a highly successful executive in the accounting world, but he always wanted to be an athlete, and he had a burnout experience in his life, and he was tired of his work. But he was like around I think late 30s or 40s, so he was really too old to be an athlete.
Uh-huh.
So the book talks about always thinking outside the box, that you don't need to be exactly what you want to be happy. And today he is one of the C-suite level, or not today, but at that book time, he was a C-suite level, a C-level executive in Nike.
Mhm.
So he works with athletes. Understand?
Mhm.
He does what he loves, but he uses his also his experience and his background.
It's called your personal MBA.
Your personal MBA, exactly.
Interesting. So yeah, well, I already speak English. I am pretty much confident with my overall level
General
of
English, yeah.
English.
Mhm.
Yes, like I can understand most of what I read, of what I listen to, but I don't have a background in business English, and I was looking for a new job opportunity. Um, in a foreign company or even in a Brazilian company, but something that includes English, I think that how do you say like diferencial?
Like, you're talking about in your CV, right?
Yeah.
Okay, something that stands out.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, and so I saw your video presentation, and I think it's along that what I need. I want to practice my confidence in meetings and maybe scan for grammar mishaps, but that wouldn't be my main goal. I want to mainly prepare to what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
to get a
yeah,
job
sure.
in English.
Yeah,
But
like,
the point is, I have a limited budget, so I was wondering what would classes look like for us if we only have like 1 or 2 months. You think you can help me with that? How's your experience with that time period?
you have only 1 or 2 months worth of classes.
Yes.
There is a tight budget, but it all depends, not budget of money, but I mean tight budget of time. But it all
Hmm.
depends of what are you looking for and how to organize this. So as I understand, your main focus now would be to find an international position, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about 4 classes a month, right? Once a week.
Hmm.
Okay. It is difficult. It's gonna demand a lot from you outside of classes also. But
Yeah.
nothing is impossible. I think to prepare you for a meeting, it's possible. More than that, it starts getting to a little bit more difficult territory.
Okay, but you think in that job, um, preparing myself to talk about my job and my
Yeah.
career, you think we can work on that time period?
Yeah. So what would I do? First of all, how to present yourself. This is something that a lot of Brazilians have a lot of difficulty with
Mm-hmm.
because still the most common question, tell me about yourself. What do people normally say? Oh, I live in São Paulo. I have 3 cats. Nobody cares. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
cares. I know it's harsh, right? Because we're Brazilians. We love details. We love to talk about ourselves, right? But they don't care. So the idea is how you need to learn how to organize your thought so you can send a message in the sense so you're the person you receives your message can understand what you want. So why communication coach? And I know that when I say coach in Brazil, especially, it's a very nasty word. Oh my God, Pablo Marçal, and he's gonna
Yeah.
try to sell me his book. That's not the idea. The idea comes from English. Coach is a trainer, right? So it's not about this. In English, we call Pablo Marçal, we call him a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a self-help life coach straight away. No, that's not the thing. My concept is to help you train your communication. So, for example, when you're going to talk to somebody, one thing you need to understand, it doesn't matter how you understand your message. You need to think how the other person will understand your message. So I just before you, my client before you was a client that's also looking for a job opportunity. So we're going through some questions and I'm preparing him. And one of the question was, if your worst enemy, how would your worst enemy describe you? And then he said, oh, that I'm a person that can't, I am a person that can't, what did he say? What was the answer? A person that can't make decisions under pressure. And I said, okay, I understand. And you're being honest. You should always be honest. The problem is that every point, good or bad, has a good and bad side. So if you say I'm a person that can't make decisions under pressure, what are they going to think? You can't be a leader then. So they is rephrase. How can you express better question? And then I told him, he can say that I'm a person that always likes to take consideration all points before I make a decision. It's the same thing, right? But it doesn't have the negative weight. So that's the idea. So how to communicate in a way that you pass your message in a way that that person wants to hear. Understand?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I will do. How to present yourself. This is very important. You're gonna use this concept in interviews, in presentations, in meetings, everywhere, networking events. You really need to understand how to sell yourself.
Yeah, I'm very bad at selling myself. I usually am too honest, and I just figured out that the corporate world is not like an academic world. It's
Exactly.
not about how people like you on a very deep personal level. I'm getting that, and so that's why your video presentation resonated a lot with me because I don't know. Yeah, yeah, and of course I know I can get through the once I'm in a work environment. I know I can like navigate better, but since I don't have any previous experiences with this kind of culture and vocabulary in English, I thought it would be nice. But and what kind of how would our classes look like then? It would be, I don't
So
know,
there's
how do
there's
you
not one answer for this
okay,
because
like that?
my classes are very dynamic. So it's all based on project basis. Understand? My classes work on project
Okay.
basis. So it depends on what you need in the moment. So for example, I give classes. I started giving classes in school. Unfortunately, like 14, 15 years ago, I'm getting old. But when I started, that was one thing that caught my attention, how everybody needs to fit on that curriculum, right? On the way that they give classes. And that's I don't agree. I have clients like you that are looking for interviews. I have directors that are looking how to kind of give international presentations. I have lawyers that want to pass the bar exam. So it depends on what is the challenge at the time. So in our first classes, I'm gonna really try to understand, can test you, right? Some points and find your weaknesses and your strengths. But I
Okay.
can give an examples how some classes can go. Since we don't have that much time, I would say that the classes would be, first of all, learning the first class. No, the first class is always something lighter, so I can understand better and we can get some things done. But the first real class, I would say, would be going over strategies, right? Depending on some weaknesses that I find on you and how can you deal with these strategies. Other exercise I have is I present a media form like audio, text, video, whatever. You absorb this text, and then you explain to me what you understand. This exercise is the basis of communication. You absorb an information, you process this information, and explain this information. Understand?
Yeah, get it.
So this is the base of communication. So we're gonna have every class you're gonna speak. That's obvious, right? I do not use Portuguese in class, only for this first conversation. And learn how to shape your thoughts into words, how to make people understand. I understand. I have the same problem as you. I'm also a very direct person, right? But I work with Brazilians, Italians, Polish, Dutch. The question is, I need to always understand who am I talking to and how direct can I be and how direct should I be. So, for example, I have a client that he's a software engineer in AI, cloud and AI, and he's Polish. No BS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not too much jokes. He's a very direct person, right? Understand what he likes. And also, I have, for example, a manager, marketing manager, and I also has a person that has a sales company, a marketing company. They are
It's more
much
about
more,
storytelling.
yes, they are much more open-minded, right? And they care about the feelings that you make them feel. So if you're too direct,
Uh-huh.
this can be offensive to them. And that's something that you need to learn. Understand? How to read the person that's talking to you. I never change my core goal, listen, how I think and my views, but it's how I make other people understand them. Understand?
Yes.
Any questions, you know?
Yes. One more question. is it possible that we have um, classes every other week, like 15 days instead of once a week?
I don't think it's possible with prep. I don't have any power on this. It's not I who decide. I'm saying I will decide the price. But prep,
Uh-huh.
I don't think Preply give you this option. I have clients that had this problem before.
Okay. And do you have, because I think that way I would have more time to work
Yeah,
on whatever
yeah.
content we are starting. Um, and do you work on any other platforms?
No, just Preply. Yeah.
Okay.
But you can always talk to support and see what they can do for you.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Because I don't work for Prep, right? I work in Preply. I'm an independent teacher. So, but if you can,
Uh-huh.
always message support.
Okay. And well, I think that's it. Those were all the questions that I have. That our classes would start in the next year, in January or February. And I like what you presented. I like your. Anyway, I think it will be a good fit for me. And I think that's it. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah,
If you
so
have any,
no,
no, go ahead.
I think I understand. I read your text, right? What you wrote for me, that you work with a B2B SAS, right? A SaaS
Okay.
B2B, yeah. Um, and I understand that you want to maybe continue this area, but internationally, right?
Yes, or maybe going to something that is not exactly that, but that requires that overall English vocabulary. You know,
Have you seen have you seen the scenario of your area outside of Brazil?
a little bit. Not.
Because
I focused mostly on Brazilian companies for now.
it's always good to look because it can work here in Brazil also, right? Because,
Uh
for
huh.
example, I have a personal friend that I know her case is different because her area is a new area. So very little competition and everybody's looking for it. So she's very disputed, right? But having an average salary here in Brazil, even if you have a lot of opportunities, she was looking at salaries of 800 to 1.2 million a year outside of Brazil. This is crazy. So this is a lot of people don't understand how what is the difference of salaries in Brazil and out of Brazil?
Mhm.
Because of course, real is very weak, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes you'll be surprised.
Do
Okay.
you have any recommendations of where I can look up those opportunities?
Unfortunately, this is an area that I really want to study and understand better because a lot of students ask me, and I say, unfortunately, I I don't understand very well where to look, right? Unless LinkedIn, because a lot of my clients look on LinkedIn, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of clients start asking me about platforms, and I don't, but I believe exists, especially must. I had a friend also that used to work in a company, an agency that was specialized in hiring Brazilian talents to international company. So the company talked to them, reach them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to them, and they would have their hiring process in Brazil. So they would do all the process and then give this client to international company. And but they would take care of all the salary and everything, right?
Okay. Interesting.
So for
Do
sure
you?
it exists.
Okay, I'll look it up. Um, and do you have any book recommendations on for
It
my
depends on what you're
for
looking
me?
for.
I was looking for something about the this area of customer success, customer experience, but it can be something a bit more a bit different about I don't know business in general, so I can get more familiar with the business.
Well, since you want to get more familiar with business and that you work with customer success, it's nothing related, but I think it's important to everybody to know. There is a book called Predictably Predictable. One second. Let me see. Long time I've read it. Predictably, Predictably Rational. I, I
Okay.
like I like this book that it talks about how we are the fact that we are irrational, but we are also predictably irrational. And
Mm-hmm.
it shows us how to find patterns in humans. So I really like this because it made me understand better patterns and how it's not about what you think, it's rational or not. It doesn't matter what you think. In the end, it's what your client, your business, your boss thinks.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Understand?
It really is. Uh-huh. Unfortunately, you have to not only learn how to do your job, you have to learn how to navigate this
E-
politics, no?
Exactly. Exactly. But
Yeah.
it doesn't need to always be complicated, right? Politics. I know the word politics is already very heavy. It's all about you should be yourself. A lot of people don't have spine, but one thing people don't understand is that if you don't have a spine, do you know what it is to have a spine?
More or less. Tell me about it.
In English, the phrase "to have a spine" is a slang, means that what animals don't have a spine? A snake, worm, understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to have a spine means to have a position and have beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about not having a spine and just doing what your boss wants and say what he wants to hear. No, because nobody respects those people, right? You need to be respected, but you need to understand how to not be confronted. Understand? You can't confront everybody. Say what you
Mm-hmm.
think, but in a way that people will not take it as in something aggressive.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so
Just
much.
one
It was a
question.
pleasure. Okay.
Is your name Luana?
Yes, I'm Luna.
Okay. Okay. But I've met some Luas before. I have a very good friend that's also likes to call herself
Yes.
Lua.
So,
Yes.
okay, now I didn't know it was just Lua. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my nickname.
I was thinking about that. So I'm gonna call her Lua. And he said, but I don't have this affinity with him.
It's all right. It's all right. I work with a company from São Paulo, so I got used to everyone calling themselves by their nicknames. So now it doesn't in my brain doesn't have that separation. It's all
Yeah,
right.
I understand. It's because I think my client changed, but I know it's not my next client, for example, we have this problem as working this platform, right? Some people don't pay attention on the name that they put. But for example, my next client is not a client yet, it's just like your prospect. ADGADGAEG. I
And
think
how
he
do you
just
call
clicked.
him?
I think he just clicked anything, understand, on the keyboard.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like,
that's
okay.
nice.
Well, so Lou, it was a
Wow.
pleasure meeting you. Again, I really believe I can help you in this career path. If I were you, after this class, I would enter in contact with Preply support, see what they can do.
Okay.
Right? So when you talk to Preply, you'll be fine for me, and I'll be waiting for you, January or February. Do you have a specific date,
Yes,
more or less?
not yet.
Okay.
Why? Is
Because
important?
no, this is send a message to give a reminder
Okay.
as a reminder. But
Okay,
no, it's not.
but
I'll
I
be here.
would. Yeah, okay, I'll see. I'll see. And
Okay.
thank you so much. If you have any recommendations on or anything that reminds you of myself, you can put on the chat. I'll check it.
Sure.
Have a great week
You too. I hope you
and
enjoy
happy
the
New Year.
holidays. Yes. Hope you enjoy the holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And feel free also to send me messages. The chat is still open, and
Okay.
I will be able to see it. Okay.
Thank you so much. See ya.
See you next
Bye.
year. Bye bye. Ah, não dá pra deixar passar batido, né? Eu adoraria sair, só que eu não conheço nada mais sobre você.